Reading can turn your brain into a learning machine. That is why I want to share with you 6 great books to turn your learning into a pro-level skill. All right, guys, so I like to break these types of learning books into 3 categories. First, you have strategic books that give you an overall perspective on how to set up your learning environment. Number 2 is tactics, individual tools you can pull out depending on what you're trying to learn. Finally, the psychological aspect, a great book that's going to give you the mental framework of becoming the type of person that is wanting to learn. So with the last book we're going to talk about in the psychology section, I want to give you 2 Jedi Mind tricks that will take you to the next level, so be sure to stick around to the end of the video. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the strategy section. These 2 books are going to give you the blueprint for the learning process as a whole. Alright, so book number 1 is Decoding Greatness by Ron Friedman. This is an amazing book where he essentially asks an underlying premise. Is greatness created through talent, through skill, or could there be a third way? And he answers this question throughout the book in one main process he calls reverse engineering. So for example, would you like to design your website like Apple's? Or what if you were invited to give a TEDx talk? How would you give the most viewed TEDx talk of all time? He lays out a step-by-step strategy in the book on how to do this and more. So whatever it is you want to master, get this book and use his blueprint. It will almost guarantee success because you'll be reverse engineering people who have already done the thing you want to accomplish. So let's jump into book number 2 in the strategy section, and this would be incomplete without Tim Ferriss' book 4-Hour Chef. Now you've probably heard of this book if you're in this learning system, but he lays out 2 amazing frameworks. Number 1 is DIS, number 2 is CAFE. DIS stands for deconstruct, select, sequence, and the last one is stakes. So you want to have high stakes environment to motivate you to learn something. Then he uses his CAFE principle, which is compression. You make a 1-page compression card of the blueprint you want to lay out that you frequently study. That's the F. And then the E is encode. So that blueprint is encoded in a memorable way so that you can easily remember what you're doing and how to apply the system to anything you do. So for example, Tim back in the day had a show, I think it was called the Tim Ferriss Experiment. He created high stakes environment for himself where he would learn to play drums. He learned a foreign language. He then learned parkour. You name it. He would set up a system and then show you, or set up a project and then show you how a system was used to master anything he was trying to learn. So definitely check out 4-Hour Chef and you'll learn a great system on how to break down any project you're wanting to master. So those are the 2 books for strategy, teaching you how to think and not just what to think. So now let's look at the tactic books, specific tools you can use depending on whatever situation you find yourself in. The first book in the tactics section is Make It Stick. This book is amazing and tactic rich, all backed up by scientific data on the validity of the tools they provide. They help you see if you're what they call a high structured learner versus a low structured learner. Neither one is right or wrong. It's basically just how you process information. The reason that's important is because then you will be able to know when and where to apply whatever tactic that they give you. Then you can find any tactic-rich system in this book. They talk about spaced repetition, active recall, interleaving, the testing effect, dynamic testing. All of these things can be applied so that when you set up your learning system, you'll be able to use anything. It's like a Swiss Army knife of learning tactics. So definitely check out Make It Stick. Absolutely amazing book to have in your learning library. All right, book number 2 in the tactic category is called The Little Book of Talent by Dan Coyle. In this book, Dan personally did his own research by going into what he called hotbeds of talent. So he studied everybody from Russian tennis players to master violinists. And what he wanted to know was, how are they practicing and what are these masters doing to learn efficiently? And so in the book, he basically breaks it down into 52 tips to improve your skills, and he divides this into 3 categories: how to start, improve, and sustain your success. So from everything, whether it is sports, music, math, art, business, you're going to have an arsenal of tools to apply to any situation that you want to learn and master. All right, guys, and now we turn to Your Memory by Kenneth Higby. This book is a mix of strategy and tactics where he teaches you what your memory is and how it works. And when you understand that, it is like you have a superpower to then go into any method he teaches throughout the rest of the book. How to memorize and use your memory for anything. How to master certain subjects by using things like the system of location, the mental filing system. And again, he'll touch on spaced repetition and active recall again. He goes into great depth on not only how do you store information, but then how do you recall it and use it. Great book. I use this thing constantly to get straight A's in my pre-medical studies. This is just a fantastic book. Definitely check out Your Memory by Kenneth Higby. Now we move to the psychology book. The reason I say psychology book is because we need to get our mind right in order to be the best learner possible. And this book is called The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. It's a master book because a lot of times when we're trying to become a great learner, or even if it's you want to know your purpose in life, a lot of times people use the words like discover or find. I'm trying to discover my purpose. I'm trying to find who I am. Change the word discover to decide. You need to decide who you want to be in life and to become that person. And the alter ego effect tells you how to do just that. Now, the author Todd Herman works with Olympic athletes, CEOs, and just great performers in all areas of life. And so he gives you the tools and the strategies on how to change your mind so that you can have success at anything you do. So how can we leverage what he teaches in this book to help us to master any subject? Well, you have to do 2 things. You have to decide that you want to learn anything, and then you have to believe that you can. So with that being said, here are the 2 Jedi mind tricks that I promised early in the video that Todd teaches in this book, and they are field of play and clothed cognition. In summary, the concept of field of play is basically a way to say know your context, know the context of what you're doing and how you need to do it. This will help determine the type of alter ego you want to develop. The second mind trick is called clothed cognition. It's basically a trigger that you will develop so that you can get your mind right as you prepare to go into whatever it is that you want to learn. To give a few cool examples of what clothed cognition looks like, imagine John Rambo putting on his headband, Lincoln Hawk turning his hat on backwards. If you follow rugby, look at the New Zealand rugby team, the All Blacks. When they put that jersey on, they are a new person. They have an alter ego and they are primed and ready through that act of closed cognition to become anything or anyone they want to be. Highly recommended is Todd Herman's The Alter Ego Effect. It will help you become the type of person and create those triggers to make learning a true superpower in your life. Those are a list of my favorite books on how you can become a learning machine by leveraging strategy, tactics, and psychology. All right, guys, and now I'll leave it with you. What books have you read on learning and how have they helped you out? Leave a comment below, as I know you'll have great things to say that'll help out everybody here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you got value from the video, and I will see you next time.